Prime Minister Netanyahu called President Trump a true friend to Israel. But is that friendship strong enough to resolve regional conflicts that have eluded others for decades? Kamran Bokhari specializes in geopolitics of the Middle East. He joins me now for a look at Trump's trip so far. So let's talk about Israel and looking ahead to Trump's meeting with Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas tomorrow. How did it go, in your opinion, and what does he bring into Tuesday's meeting?
I don't think that there's going to be any significant change in the Israeli-Palestinian situation. I think that this is one of those trips where you pay a visit, there are formalities, there is the decorum, the protocol that is basically, you get the red carpet treatment and then people forget about the visit, in a few months' time. I don't think that this visit will bring Israeli-Palestinian peace, if that's what people are expecting. I'm actually surprised people would expect that, considering the geopolitical realities on the ground, where the Palestinians are a divided lot and Israel does not have a negotiating partner. The demand from the Arab side is that Israel return to the 1967 borders for any meaningful negotiations to take place. That's not happening. So I think this is more, this same old, same old.
But, his Trump supporters are perhaps looking for that based on everything he has said about Mideast peace. But he has also actually backed off on some of the things that he has said in the past, including moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. So do you think that he is getting a reality check by going to the region?
There is an element of a reality check, but I don't think it requires one to go to the region. It requires one to actually enter office. And I think that despite sort of the media portrayal, the president is well aware of what is doable and what's not. He didn't become president by, being someone who doesn't calculate well. And I think
this is an unconventional president.
Yes, but at the end of the day, he's also a businessman. He didn't make his fortune by being sloppy. So, he may be unconventional, but, it doesn't take a genius to know what is doable and what is not. I think he knows well. I think this is an attempt by the president to sort of shift gears away from the domestic investigation on Russia, all the negative press that's been coming his way, and to show, that, I can act like a statesman if you think I'm some sort of, irresponsible person. Look, I just went to Saudi Arabia. Look how many people came to meet me, and I can actually be a statesman. So it's an effort to counter that negative press. I think that's the takeaway, as opposed to, supporting Saudi Arabia or, bringing about Israeli-Palestinian peace or working some arrangement with the Vatican.
He is outside the U.S., but the headlines keep chasing him. Just a short time ago, there are reports that Trump asked intelligence chiefs to dispute the FBI on the Russia probe. That is breaking as we speak. So is he really able to get away from what's happening back in the United States?
I don't think so. I think that there is, a reality, and then there's also a perception. The perception that you have the reality of, some alleged wrongdoing. We don't know. The investigation hasn't panned out yet. But then there is also the media portrayal of it, and how the media is reporting it. And we live in a world of 24/7 news cycle. So obviously things pile up. So for him, this visit is an attempt to counter that. Will he be successful? To an extent, maybe. But, when he comes back home, what is the situation then? What more new leaks have come out? That'll determine where this is all going. But for now, he has sort of taken a sting away from that whole negative press.
20 seconds left. Your thoughts on his comments on Iran now that, there's been an election. Hassan Rouhani has been reelected. He is the moderate. What do you make of some of the things he said during this trip bashing Iran?
So if he were to hypothetically go to Iran, he would say exactly the opposite of what he said in Saudi. He was in Saudi. He is their guest. He had to make them happy, make them feel good. So he said things that, pleased his hosts. If his hosts were somehow Iranians as opposed to the Saudis, I bet you that he would have said exactly the opposite, praised them for their democracy, and found things to praise over there. Statements are statements. They don't really change policy. Are we rolling back the nuclear program, nuclear deal? No, we're not. Is he going to go and align with Saudi Arabia to go to war with Iran? That's not happening. So I see more of continuity than any change.
All right, Mr. Bokhari. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.